Hello everyone, and welcome to some MiSTer FPGA news. This week, we will be talking about some brand new cores, a script that will download the latest build of the Saturn core for you, building your own GunCon 3 emitters for light gun gaming, and more. A new arcade core for Namco's Bosconian has been released. Bosconian is a multi-directional overhead shooter in space. It's based on Dar's Galaga MiSTer core with help from Mike J and WOS at FPGA Arcade. The Bosconian video board and system implementation was done by Nolben. Update your MiSTer now to obtain the core. Last week, I spoke about a commercial program called Roadshow that would help you get the Amiga core online. Now, thanks to some of my viewers, I was notified of other ways to get the Amiga core onto the internet without the need to pay for commercial software. The options are: if you run Amiga OS version 3.9, there's a built-in TCP IP stack that's called Genesis. For users of Amiga OS version 3.2.1, there is a program called Miami DX. There is also another commercial program called AMI TCP. I couldn't find tutorials for Genesis or AMI TCP, but I did find Miami DX tutorials. Let me know in the comments if you know of any other tutorials. I haven't used the Amiga core much, so I'm not very well versed in all of its capabilities. I also appreciate it when viewers point things out that I've either missed or didn't get correctly. There is a pre-release build of the PCXT Core that has a Tandy 160 by 216 color mode and the IDE support that makes using hard drive images much easier. If you visit the MiSTer FPGA forums and Twitter, you can see pictures of how the Tandy mode looks like. Dar FPGA released a new core for the arcade game Congo Bongo. At the moment, it must be downloaded manually, but should officially come to MiSTer sometime in the near future. Alternatively, there is a script called Insert Coin that will allow you to download it, which I'll talk about in the next segment. Congo Bongo is an isometric platformer by Sega released in 1983. The goal is to get your character to the top of the stage where an ape resides. Now that sounds really familiar. A script I just recently found out about called Insert Coin that's developed by Funky Kochais offers a couple of features that other scripts might not have. For instance, this script can download cores not officially released like Sega System Wine and Black Wine's alternative Neo Geo cores. It also installs the latest builds of the Saturn core. This script will also remove the progress bar you see when you load a game. It's not a standalone script, it still relies on Update All. And in Update All, you must activate JT Cores, Unofficial, and Miscellaneous CoinOp Collection options. Racky's Psychic 5 core will soon be released to the official MiSTer repo, once snack support is added. If you don't want to wait for the official release, you can still obtain the core from Racky's GitHub page. The Japanese version of Cosmic Cop, called Armed Police Unit Gallop, has been dumped by Cold 666 and will be coming to MiSTer. This is a horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up based on Irem's M82 hardware. On Wikipedia, it is mentioned that this game is part of the R-Type series, taking place concurrently with R-Type Delta. Some MiSTer cores combine more than one system because of how similar they are. For example, the Sega Master System core also implements the Game Gear core, so games for those systems are ran from a single core. MiSTer Game Launcher files help separate these systems by providing a menu listing for each and also a directory to store games individually for each system, even though they run from the same core. Now, thanks to Robert Garcia Lago on Twitter, we now have MiSTer Game Launcher files for the Atari 2600, Game Boy Color, Megaduck, WonderSwan Color, SG-1000, and Game Gear. If you haven't yet done so, the next time you update your MiSTer, these systems will now have their own listing on the console menu. The Game Boy Color launcher might not be there yet because it still needs some last-minute work. You will have to copy ROMs specific to those systems to the new folder so they can show up. I really appreciate these launcher files because to me, it just makes more sense to launch Atari 2600 and Game Gear games from their own menus. And there's been another update for the Sega Saturn core. The developer has been really busy the past few weeks with it. Regarding the updates, there were several CPU fixes, one fixing a Fighter Viper's hang. For the SCU math coprocessor, fixes were made that helped FIFA Soccer 97, Sky Target, PTO2, and perhaps some other games. For VDP1, there were fixes that helped Siberia, PTO2, and Street Fighter Alpha. For VDP2, a fix helped Striker 96. For the SMPC, fixes were made which helped Mansion of Hidden Souls. And there were CD and SH1 fixes, helping out Striker 96. The last few updates for the core have been pretty frequent. If you want to update this core by just updating your MiSTer, check out the insert coin script I spoke about earlier in this video. It's amazing what the dev is doing considering the situation in his home country of Ukraine. If you can, please try to support his work on Patreon. Because of him, we got a Super NES, a 32X core, and now we're getting a Saturn core. The beta for the Alpha Denshi core is now available for download. The core was developed by Darren O with assistance from Track 17. So far, 3 games are playable. Gang Wars, which is a side-scrolling beat-em-up. Super Champion Baseball, which is obviously a baseball game. And Sky Adventure, which is a vertically scrolling shoot-em-up. To download the beta, just use the Update All script with CoinOp Collection enabled. If you want more information on the technical aspects of the core and future cores coming, check out Track 17's post on Patreon. So we didn't get the New Zealand core because of some issues that came up. If you want more details regarding this, check out Hotego's Patreon. However, we are not empty-handed because instead we got a turbo OutRun core. On the regular OutRun core, all variations of OutRun are now also supported. These cores are running really well besides some sprite issues, but they are completely playable. You can download the cores if you're a Patreon subscriber of Hotego, and if not, you can wait until they come out of beta when Hotego releases them to the public. Last week, I released a video that teaches you how to build IR emitters for the GunCon 3. This is very helpful for those who lost their emitters or are trying to get emitters secondhand from eBay and notice that the prices are really expensive. The gun itself is not too expensive, so you can purchase the gun and build the emitters yourself. If you're interested in doing this, check out the video. I also posted an article on Retro RGB showing the process, so you can read the instructions step by step. The past few weeks' PlayStation updates are now official. The notable new features are 4-player analog multi-tap has been implemented by Markin, and the 480i to 480p hack was implemented. Along with those new features, there were a lot of bug fixes getting more games working. Full details on the bug fixes are on the MiSTer FPGA forums and Twitter. And other miscellaneous MiSTer fixes and updates are Anton Gale's Xerion core can now be downloaded by just updating your MiSTer. Birdie Bro updated the Tropical Angel core to add DIPS functions. Aspect ratio was also fixed, the clocks for the core were changed to be more accurate, and the options window was cleaned up. That's it for other updates. Please also try to support Sorge, the maintainer of the MiSTer project, and other MiSTer developers and contributors on support platforms such as Patreon and Ko-fi. Their hard work allows us to enjoy this amazing project. So that's it for this week's episode. I provided links to all my sources in the description. Make sure you also check out RetroRGB.com to see my MiSTer news videos in blog form and to get more retro-related content. And if possible, support them on Patreon too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and its bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.